Across the Atlantic, too, recession bordered upon full-scale depression. It was the Republicans' handling of domestic issues which decided the outcome of the presidential election. Unemployment, debt, and poverty were foremost in the minds of voters. It mattered less that George Bush and the Russian president had signed a historic arms limitation treaty heralding drastic cuts in the number of strategic nuclear missiles. Boris Yeltsin was to describe the agreement as proof of the new friendship and partnership between the two nations. It mattered less that not so long ago George Bush's successful Desert Storm drove the Iraqis out of Kuwait. Only from now on, the excesses of an old adversary's work was to be kept in check. His activities were to be the subject of close monitoring by United Nations inspectors.
The United States has plans to be sure that Saddam Hussein does what he's supposed to do.
One of the things he was supposed to do was to stop the harassment of the Shiites who had taken refuge from his wrath following their failed rebellion and were living in the southern marshes. A no-fly zone was established to shield the marsh Arabs from air attack. But despite this strong foreign policy line and United Nations inspectors' determination to cut the heart out of the Iraqi nuclear weapons industry, when it came to the election, all that really counted with the American voter was the Republican administration's economic record. And despite his best effort to stay in the White House, George Bush could not persuade them otherwise.
Who do you trust? Who do you trust in this election? And who would you trust with your family? Who would you trust with your country in a moment of crisis?
Although some were emphatic to the point of fervor, others were clearly not convinced. And occasionally George Bush himself made matters worse.
I want to run the risk of ruining what is a lovely reception by.
And his running mate's famous gaffe didn't help either.
Down a little bit to the end there. Spell that again now.
Apparently, spelling is not Dan Quayle's strong suit. By contrast, everything seemed to be going the Democrats' way.
This election is a race between hope and fear, between division and community, between responsibility and blame, between whether we have the courage to change, to stay forever young, or whether we stay with the comfort of the status quo.
In retaliation, Bush made much of Bill Clinton's student activities while at England's Oxford University.
It's wrong to demonstrate against your own country or organize demonstrations against your own country in foreign soil. I just think it's wrong.
I'm not interested in his character. I want to change the character of the presidency.
The millionaire independent candidate's campaign was expensive and different. Ross Perot's candidacy was serious, and he did well in the polls. But like the Republicans, it was not enough. When the American people had spoken, it was the Democrats who had won, and the Clintons and the Gores who celebrated. It was time to look to tomorrow.
On this day, with high hopes and brave hearts, in massive numbers, the American people have voted to make a new beginning.
President-elect Clinton's victory resonated with echoes of the past and another young Democrat reaching the White House. 3 decades ago, the two had met.